welcome to Cranky Gays. I'm your host, Jason Lucarelli. I want to give everyone a shout out. I'd like to thank our Gay Life TV audience. We'd like to thank our Roku and Justin.tv viewers. Special thanks to MondoClub.com, who carries our station. If you'd like to follow us on Facebook, follow us at facebook.com/GayLifeTV, Skype, WMR Video, and come to our site at www.gaylifetelevision.com. Well, we're cranky. We're getting ready to get into it. Got a special guest in studio today. First, our first guest is John Benet Ransme. Welcome to the show. And our second guest needs no welcome. She's a legend in the Pittsburgh scene in every sense of the word. The Empress Veruca La Corona. Yes.
Hello.
Yes. Welcome to the show. Our first guest, John Benet Ransme, lauded as the worst drag queen in Pittsburgh. If she hasn't left you wet or messy or questioning the lyrics to a song, clearly you haven't seen her attempts at performance. What do you have to say to that?
Well, I'm possibly the worst lip syncer in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I don't know. That whole thing came from it was a joke of cherry bombs, and it's kind of truthful.
Yes. Yes. Have you run for a pageant before?
I ran for Miss Trash and amazingly lost. So.
Aww. Why do you feel you lost?
I don't even know, because I thought it was a shoo-in for Miss Trash, but
yes.
I think it was a little bit like my performance was actually not as trashy as I could have been, which was the most devastating news to me.
Listen, when I saw lauded as the worst drag queen in Pittsburgh, that was clearly reserved for myself.
Yeah, you.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, and, and I'm always glad to see when people can pick up the torch and continue it going. Is that a title you embrace?
Yeah, I actually stole it from Daniel Lamort, so sorry. But it's
would you say Danny qualifies as the worst, the strangest? I don't know. I don't want to say
most
strange,
interesting.
definitely.
I would never say the worst.
The worst.
Certainly not.
No.
There are far worse drag queens.
But I personally think that's a compliment when you say that you're the worst drag queen, because I mean that means you have an audience of people who hate, a mass audience.
Right.
I was decrowned.
That sounds painful.
Yes, I was decrowned for ugly drag. I was not welcome to be booked just based on my reputation as being that bad of a drag queen. And I personally think that's a better legend to leave than any. We'll get into the pageant system and what we think about it, but. Down to the Empress, Miss Veruca La Corona.
Yes.
Tell us, what is the look tonight?
Kind of like witchy beachwear.
All right.
It's, the middle of July. So.
I said it's like feng shui meets Witches of Eastwood.
Yeah.
Right?
It's kind of like what the inside of my apartment looks like.
Okay, that's great. All right, so we got some stuff we're going to talk about, some things I'm kind of cranky about personally, and I want to hear what you two are cranky about, obviously, because it's all about crankiness here at Cranky Gays. So speaking of cranky, I decided to get out this weekend. I rarely get a Friday and Saturday off, and I rarely get the chance to go out and enjoy a good show. And there was none this weekend. There was something over, I think, did you do the event over in...
Yeah.
What was it?
We did an event. Cherry Bomb and I are moving to New York,
Okay.
and we've been doing this farewell tour. And we didn't advertise well this week because we were both finding an apartment in New York. So we played to a house of 6, 3 of them being homeless people, and 1 of them being a child. So it was a fun show. Surprisingly,
Wait.
I got all my community service in.
Okay, please repeat this. You were.
We performed for a crowd of, well, actually, I guess it was 4 homeless people, and then a child. Yeah, he was about 5.
Okay.
Cutest thing.
All right, and why were you doing this?
Well, it was originally supposed to be part of the farewell tour, and then it just didn't get advertised very well, so
This
pulled
has
homeless
to
people
go
off.
to the infant. I mean, does this not? Does this go down? You've had a farewell show.
Certainly not a tour, though.
I'm
no Cher.
No, but you've had a show, and so I mean that's obviously something. Are you going to put that in your scrapbook?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
It's
all
like
right. Well,
hilarious.
there was another event over in somewhere in Boulevard, Caldwell, and them were.
Was it the Circus Cats?
No,
No,
it was the day-long.
Oh,
Yes,
Rhinestone
you know,
Rhinestone
listen.
Steel.
I have I appreciate being invited to these things, and you know, the first thing that pops in my mind is A, how expensive is the cover going to be, and then B, how hard is it going to be to get a drink, and how expensive is it going to be to get a drink. And if I don't have like any type of like inside man who can kind of like either buy.
I feel like it's more of a queer BYOB.
Right.
Oh, really?
day-long,
Okay.
Donate what you
Yeah.
can kind of
Concert,
thing.
yeah.
So there's not going to be. I mean,
So
there
I
wouldn't have been some
all right.
Stifler at the door, and you could have snuck in a bottle. You would have been fine.
Okay. I see. I don't know these things because the first thing I think when I see an invite is, you know, am I wrong to think that the first thing to flash into my mind is cover charge and cost of drinks?
If I would have seen the lineup, no, I would not have thought that.
Okay. So maybe it's my fault. I'm sorry. Sue me. But anyway, so I wanted something to do, and I was like seeing where there would be a show or something. Nothing was at the Blue Moon, which is like, if I personally rather go to the Blue Moon because I go there, I like it. Drinks can be, you know, either way, but it's just somewhere I'm accustomed to. And there's usually always something at the Blue Moon, but there was nothing this week. And I didn't want to go to other shows to see other gender portrayals. Nothing personal. So I decided to go to the third annual Miss There pageant down at There Video Lounge in downtown Pittsburgh. And let me tell you something. Oh, I got my money's worth, so to speak. And it's similar to myself. I sit there and say these things like I'm mad about the cover charge at the door and I'm mad about the cost of drinks. And what's the first thing I ended up having to do? Take out frickin' $50 to pay a $5 cover charge, and then pay for drinks, and then you have to be like do my good Christian deed and like tip all the formers because I know them, you know, like so. And it was okay. Look, it's hard to like do a pageant nowadays unless you go and rent a venue where you have a stage and you have a back room, and so we have to do what we have to do. So There has a second floor now, and it's an exact replica of the first floor. It's the bar exactly where the bar is downstairs, and then it's the bathroom in the back where you have to walk past the stage to get to. So, of course, we went through all that. But besides that, I have to say, why do I love bar pageants? I love bar pageants for the following reason, and tell me if you agree. There's something slightly amateurish about the contestants. They're not like people who go and throw $1,000 into like getting a gown made and whatnot. So that to me is why I personally enjoy them. And anytime you do have a contestant that's not like amateurish, it's usually someone who's had like a city or regional title and just needs a crown for like a pride festivity, you know, like on their head. They could care less just about getting pride. Am I right on that?
It's like an addiction.
Well, yeah. What is it about like that crown? But
it's a validation.
Yes, it's a validation.
It says, I cross-dress, therefore I am something.
Well, most of them just want, like, to... I am not punning anyone in particular, but there's something about having a crown on your head at Pride festivity if you're a drag queen that just gives you that, like, sense of elite status. You know, how many times have you had it? Once? Twice?
Twice.
And what was it like? I mean, did it make it any different?
No, I have more fun when I'm just painted in a clubbish pride fashion and I get to run around and snatch all the photos and steal all the attention away from those queens. I'd rather have, you know, my own whatever going on.
All right. Well, so the winner of the pageant was Mariah St. James Dickerson, and we'll get into the talent there, so to speak, and a couple of the other contestants. I don't know. What is it? I used to think that it was coming to an end before, like queens entering into pageants and like creating a redundancy, doing things that other queens have already done to win pageant. You know, like, and half the time members of the panel who did those same numbers, you know, to win a pageant. So we talked about this upstairs. What do we think is is this phenomenon of using the Whitney Houston song, I Will Always Love You, and then having some food item that you start very slowly with.
Or booze.
Yeah, booze.
What?
It's also overdone
alcohol.
with a bottle, and they'll sing to the bottle, and they'll love the bottle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then they'll have a
All right.
breakdown with the bottle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They do that with the food. I've seen it done. Lola. I'm not going to use any names. Certain person won the Miss certain queen won the Uniontown pageant with it, doing it, but they did it with Kentucky Fried Chicken. They started slow, and then all of a sudden they were dumping chicken on their head. And then I saw Alaska do it with the Doritos. She did the same thing. I don't know. And then I saw someone do it with Frosted Flakes. And I'm just, what is it about? Like, if I could just have what the concept is that you're like addicted to food. Someone help me, please.
It's a cheap joke at the song.
It's cheap. Yeah.
And it's just, I mean, we talked about this. It's just kind of an easy way to be messy and unsafe while still being pageant safe.
Pageant safe, yeah.
But doing something unconventional and different. I mean, that's all. It's a gimmick.
To me, like I said, it reminded me of which totally got irritating in it of itself, the whole My Life thing, where they would start with this is my life, and then sing with the cereal, and then all of a sudden they're scooping, they pour the milk into the bowl, and then
see that was a more literal.
That was
it was life cereal because it was my life. The thing about the "I Will Always Love You" is that drag queens are stupid, and they'll assume that by swapping Doritos for a bottle of vodka or a bottle of vodka for a bucket of chicken, that it's a completely different number.
Yes,
which it's not.
I have to
but that's the thought process behind it. The lack of thought process, I should say.
I have to say and we'll give credit where credit's due. The only queen I've seen who's done it, and I actually somewhat enjoyed watching it, was Alaska, because she got crazy, jumped out of her skin, and was just like, yeah. Whereas the other people don't have that; they're very superficial. Yeah. I didn't get it. Like, this queen at the Dare pageant went as far as to have like a big, oversized box of Frosted Flakes that opened up halfway, and she walked out with a box of Frosted Flakes and started. It was just really. So I didn't know what to think. And then on top of that, just doing any redundancy, Mary Catherine Gallagher. I don't know. Even when Erica Andrews did that for Entertainer of the Year, I didn't like it. I don't know. Like, that's a tough one to do. And the poor queen did it, and she did it with a techno club mix, and then it kept going in and out with the telephone, and all the confrontations that Mary Catherine Gallagher had in the movie were via phone.
The telephone gag. It's another
gag. I can't stay. I'm getting so, like, you could just quick go to YouTube, type in drag queen phone number, and you'll get a result of just.
I think the lack of thought process behind that is, I have to learn half the less amount of lyrics because half of my number is
on that, and then usually what it is, at some point you can throw the phone.
Yeah,
you can throw the phone. So
I just don't understand the people that just Google somebody else's performance and take it to a pageant.
There's quite a few of them.
It just doesn't make sense.
I have one that came to my mind. I'm not gonna. I like this queen. I think you've called her the laziest queen in Pittsburgh. No names. You said that you would be in the dressing room and you would hear her music, and yet she was still behind you getting changed for the next number.
Yeah.
Has done that for pageants. Like, gone on. And it was I think the number that this person did was a plus size girl who did it. And she's so tiny. And low point, don't do numbers because other queens have won them for a pageant.
Yeah, I feel like that's dooming yourself.
Yes. Well, so then
unless
the girl.
You're going to do, which I have never seen. I would love to see a queen rob someone's number point blank, which I've seen 1,000 times.
Right.
But do it as the queen whose number that they're robbing.
That would be good.
Assuming everyone knows, because everyone does. We all know.
Absolutely.
We all gossip and kiki. We all watch pageant videos. The judges are always the same.
Right. Yes.
So
and it's
come out in the illusion of the contestant that won years prior, whose number you're ripping off of, and then at least everyone knows that you have, above all, a sense of humor.
Like stealing Chad Michaels' Mommy Dearest.
Dress up like Chad Michaels. Yeah.
That would be kind of sick. I would actually get into that.
Yeah, I would respect that.
But you know what, though? Even if they stole a number and it was totally unoriginal, if I go to a pageant and sit there and, like, you clearly won, like, you clearly brought the house down, the audience clearly loved you, you brought your 100% A game, but it's when you're doing it just because you know that someone else won it and that will win.
Right.
That's what it's about for me personally. But anyway, so the winner did a very good job, and she did a number with the microphone, lip syncing to it. I have mixed feelings about that personally. I think it's kind of ridiculous. I'm sorry.
I have direct feelings about
Yeah.
that, and I think it's atrocious.
You're talking about the Toys R Us like kids microphone.
Well, no, they take the same microphone that the person who's emceeing the event tour and just turn it off, and you can see the little red light on the bottom of it.
That's even worse.
And they're just like lip syncing to it. And boy, did I get it from some of the people in the audience talking to them. They're like, "Hey, no, you didn't see the girl who actually did that number at Continental and won it, and she did it the same way," and like pour me down.
So the person who you stole it from did it better.
Exactly.
So surprise.
Exactly. So, well, in any event, we want to congratulate Mariah St. James Dickerson, the 4th Miss Dare Ultra Lounge. Akasha, you did a great job as your in your reign. And on that note, some info I did take with me at the pageant, which is straight from the horse's mouth. You can't come at me, Miss Pittsburgh pageant. I heard this from the person you're stealing. The Miss Pittsburgh pageant, like the actual pageant for real girls who are born with tits and a clitoris, is suing the Miss Gay Pittsburgh pageant, which I've never, in any of my years, like knowing the pageant system, it's always just been called Miss Pittsburgh.
Always.
And I don't know what the big deal about it is. Come on. I mean, seriously. Does the winner of this pageant go on to reap any... they get maybe a $500 cash prize.
It's
something.
not. It's certainly
Before
not much.
when it was, they get that, and then maybe a couple hundred when they give it down.
Right, and
they're
a couple of guaranteed bookings.
Guaranteed
You
bookings.
get a
They're
little
not
thing on
going
the
out into
float,
the community
you know.
with some platform social justice issue.
They're not
and
opening IKEAs.
and promoting issues. Come on. Well, lo and behold, they're being sued. Kiera Darshell, the owner of There, which I don't know his name, and I didn't say it, but yeah. How seriously has life gotten that bad that a pageant system has to attack a drag queen community?
Well, I'm sorry if our pageant's a lot more notable and famous than yours.
The thing
no
that
one's
breaks,
paying you any attention.
that's upsetting for me is that I remember a time when, I mean, that was in this city.
That was the
That
top.
was the
that was what you
the
did.
only non-bar title in Pittsburgh that had a level of prestige. You know, like that you had to actually get a decent evening gown for, that you had to put a solid, otherwise you were just a mess.
And you used to have to you had to, if you wanted anyone to take you seriously at Miss Pittsburgh, you had to have had a couple of those bar titles under you. And then that was what you aspired to be.
And if you didn't, you had to seriously
sell
it out.
Seriously work your ass to get there.
So yeah, that for me was what I was so upsetting hearing about it when I heard, the person who was conveying this information saying it so nonchalantly, and me thinking for a while there, I remember we used to watch videos of it, and I was even there.
I was there for a handful of them.
Yeah, 2004, 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then I think they stopped getting interesting after
I think they stopped for a year or two.
No,
I think
they went. They I don't know if recently they stopped, but they went up until 2008. That was the year that Milan won, and
finally,
I'm not. And then 2009, I think they did it over at another bar. We won't mention any names.
Who won that year?
I think Lady Rose.
Finally.
Yes. Was it 4 times? 3 times? 3 times, and then
Milan had like 10.
She had like 10, but
She started in '94 and went.
Well,
bless her heart.
I think, and then after that, I mean, there was you used to watch them back in like the late '80s, early '90s, and they had 10 and 11 contestants.
Oh, it was full fantasy all night.
It was really like anxiety. I mean, just such a thrill to go.
There's been more than like 4 or 5.
The year that Ida won, even though everyone knew that Ida Bagel was going to win when she ran for it, there was still like 7 or 8 contestants, and they actually but then since then I've never known it.
The last year that I watched, there were I think 6.
So
it was the year that Akasha had won.
No, you were there for Ida. You performed. Yes, you did. You performed. Ida won, and it was a solid line. I mean, clearly, Ida won. I remember
I was
being
Miss
there.
Pegasus.
Yes, you were Miss Pegasus.
Don't drink vodka anymore.
Yes, don't do vodka. Well, like so many shots before you like go on and perform, and then wear your crown upside down during coronation. And yes,
Fashion
well,
mask.
anyway, yes. If there are people who are pissed, but the point of the matter is that what has happened to pageantry in this city? Please, someone. But I even applaud them. You know, like for a bar pageant, I was there. I remember sitting there, and as you know,
I think it's a lack of venues. I mean, what are we
True.
left with? We're
Well,
left
no.
with a dank, dark second floor,
Yeah.
and their ultra
yes,
lounge.
absolutely. I mean,
With,
and
like
you know-
backlights and
you know
it's
what I
terrible.
think is like if you go, I don't know because I haven't been there for such a long time, but vice versa, there were bar owners who clearly invested in their queens.
Right.
They
It's all about
they,
the
they
queens.
clearly invested in their queens. There was no Miss Morgantown pageant because vice versa was the
Yeah.
pageant to win. And you know they do. They put money into their queens. They invest in their queens, and that's I haven't been there, so I can't. I don't have any control. Have you been there recently? Either?
I went like a year ago.
I do a few shows a year there, but they always seem to kind of be clustered around the same time. It's usually like around like end of summer, beginning of fall.
Yeah.
I always do the True Blood party
And
there.
it's so far for me, like to
It
drive
is.
to,
Yeah,
like
it is.
unless you can stay somewhere. I've never had anywhere to stay. You have to really like just drink beer all night because then you know like the drive home is going to be
It's like
really
an hour and a half.
Yeah,
really
getting there is
long.
hard.
So so we have to do something about it. But this is what I would like to see. I would like to see a pageant that you have to run for it and you purposefully have to try to win. And it was the person who scored in last that won. Because they were the worst but didn't mean to. Because trailer trash sometimes is kind of, people think they can just do the...
She's sitting right here.
No, I'm talking some people can go really extreme just think in the name of like trashiness can do
Oh yeah.
whatever just because that will be the shot. You know, like in the end it is seen as being kind of like contrived. I would like to see a pageant system where you have to run for it fairly and it's the person who gets in last that wins. Wouldn't that
They
be
tried the hardest.
They tried the hardest, yes. So wouldn't that be like what could we call it? The least of the messes? No, not least of the messes. The messiest without trying. Would that be a good? Like, we have to seriously think about
Worst to the best?
Worst of the
worst
best.
of the best, but that's still insulting it though. It's still like, but would they mind? I think about
Well,
queens.
best of the worst is
Best
more
of the
insulting.
worst.
Yes, that's true.
At least worst of the best.
worst of the
means
best,
You're
because-
still part of the
because
best.
I love it, and this is the other thing. Back to the Miss Dare pageant. When they announced the winner, there were 5 contestants. When they announced second runner-up, first runner-up, and the winner. Second runner-up was Ashley Brown. Don't ask me how. The first runner-up was Blade Matthews, which I said before she did a Gaga number, but it was actually pretty cohesive. And from start to finish of it, the audience really got into it. I mean, she did a whole like change the cape into the pants and pull the dress off, and then was in that Edge of Glory outfit at the end. And she hopped and she had the audience going, but her evening gown was really sloppy. And then the winner. But there were 2 other ones on stage, and they were convinced. You could just see it. They were like there, like all 3 of the remaining ones, waiting for Kiara to announce the winner and announce the winner. And as soon as they announced the winner, I knew who the winner was going to be. But those other 2 really thought they were going to win. And when they didn't, I love it. That's my favorite part of going to pageants is that moment when. Do you mind if I make a comparison?
No.
Tri-state, like whenever.
Well, who thought I was going to win?
I know, but you were the only example when you're like, they were just like, when they were announcing the winners and everyone was there and you didn't even hold anyone's hand. You were just like.
Know where their hands have been?
So, yeah, so.
See, no hand
So,
sanitizer.
but that's a great time, isn't though? Those deluded ones who actually think they were going to win and those bitter faces after when they don't win. That's what I think about. So if
It is good.
yeah, so like to like anoint that, I think would be great. So that's I'm gonna like get to work, and you could be my like collaborator on that. We'll have to find a forum where it doesn't seem so contrived, but it's It's actually being very contributing to the drag community, isn't it? It's not like anointing the best and then letting hopefully someday the least successful can meet that platform. They have a platform, so we're gonna get to that. So anything else on pageants that you want to get off your chest? Any pageants you've been to? Any pageants you've seen on Facebook or YouTube that you just like really hit you in the clit, like thinking about?
I just personally don't understand pageants. I think that's my big thing. That's why I've never done any of them, is that I just don't get it. I don't understand why you would want to put yourself up against that harsh of a critique.
If it
makes them feel good.
This is the thing, which you can attribute to. I only ran for 3 pageants and I won every time I ran for them, so I never had to experience the losing aspect of it. But it was an amateur pageant, a trailer trash pageant, and a rinky-dinky bar pageant.
And then weren't you Miss Pineapple Princess?
Yes.
The original Miss P-Town?
Yes. You'd love that.
It's a cute
hey, girl.
title.
But for the amateur pageant, I actually had to work for it.
Yeah.
Though I actually had to work for it, and I didn't. It was no one supported me at all.
Mahari and I supported you.
You did. No, but you did. But I'm saying no one.
Who stole you shoes for evening gown?
Yes, that's right. I can't say that. You know what I meant, though. You know what I meant in the terms that people.
Well, no one else.
No one else
other than the 2 people you had in the back.
Friends, everyone was like, "Oh, girl, who's this Pittsburgh queen gonna come in and win?"
And the bar was against you.
Yes, so that was my perspective on it, and I see queens who like lose legitimately and still carry on as if they should have won. And that's, I think, what the problem with, I think if there wasn't such bitterness from queens to like, just be like, I've lost. But you've only lost 1 pageant though, correct?
Right, it was the only one I entered. And
I have to give it to you. This is what I have to give it to you. You were one of the few people that will enter a pageant so that there's at least another contestant. And we'll be like, I could care a lot. Like if I win, I've seen you do it. 3 times,
3 or 4 times, yeah.
And it's like funnest, like, because then that's
I don't take it seriously.
That's the one who like you can like relax backstage with, and they're not all like on edge about like who's trying to sabotage, like me. So yeah, so we're gonna get to work on that. Can
I just say that I don't take pageants seriously because the level of taste that the contestants and the judges have and are being judged on, I find to just be tacky and gross and extremely old-fashioned.
Okay.
I don't know. There's no room for anyone that's fashion-forward or creative or edgy.
Right.
They still want you to have the same cut dress from the 80s. They want you to have the same disgusting hair. It's just sad,
then,
really.
Well, this was something I saw the other night, was that I saw like talent costumes or like jewelry.
Half of the judges wouldn't know a designer dress or a modern cut if I just slapped them in the face.
I seen
this big jewelry.
Yeah, and to close out, this is what gets me, was that because I've seen, like, I know the cliques in the drag community, who's drag mother, who's drag sister, and I see like, okay, I've seen that corset 7 years ago.
Yeah, oh, there's that gown again.
Same one. I've seen that earrings. I've seen that same thing. And where has that been? Has that been washed? Has that been cleaned?
Well, people like that, though. They're like, this is the gown that my drag mother won Miss Blah, Blah, Blah in 1987 in. Why are you wearing it now?
Yes. So, I mean, we're going to go there. So, we had a picture of the winner, and I'm sorry if we don't get it up. But Mariah St. James, thank you very much. We wish you well. We hope you win many more bar pageants. Maybe a city pageant, and maybe if you're smart, you'll go the online route like the other queens. But you know what? We don't need pictures. So let's go on to number 2. Adam Sandler does a sequel, but he really shouldn't, is my opinion. Grown Ups 2 was in theaters this weekend, and it made $42 million domestically. Shit. I know, and I just think to myself, I can't look back and see any movies that he's made that I've actually ever really liked.
Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, Happy Gilmore.
51st
And
Dates.
I liked him, like, his whole SNL stand-up, and I actually enjoyed his, like, comedic stand-up where he, like, had, like,
Where he used to sing the
yeah,
song,
the
right.
Happy Kwanzaa,
Yeah.
Religion, Christmas, whatever song. It's really good. It was really good. I mean, but he owns his own studio. I think it's Happy Madison Productions.
Yeah.
So all these movies he makes are these movies where and you have to give it to him on one end of the spectrum because he keeps his friends employed. Chris Rock. What's the one who used to do movies with Chris Farley?
David Spade.
David Spade. Kevin James. He keeps them all employed. Albeit they're terrible movies. They're awful. I rented Grown Ups the first one, and I got like 25 minutes into it, and I turned it off. It's just like all crude humor. It's not anything about like being like artistic in the script. It's all shock value. And same is going for this one. It's actually being like labeled the worst movie of 2013. And that's what to start, like, people have, so what is it? There was either nothing out this weekend, or people have no standards in this country when it comes to movies. I don't know.
Is there anything out this
little
weekend?
There
Column
really
A,
wasn't,
little
no.
from column
I think
B,
they probably,
maybe.
like, did that. When they were thinking about distributing it, they were looking to see when it was coming out and what would be in competition against it, because his last 3 movies tanked. They were awful. This is...
I think the last Adam Sandler movie I sat through was The Waterboy, and that was terrible.
he did this one.
And that was like 15 years ago.
He did this one last year. It was called Jack and Jill. Where
Oh,
he played
with
the twin sister and him were the same. He played both characters. Yeah. It was terrible. And do you know what I think is the best part about it? I mean, because it's gonna the first Grown Ups was awful, like I said, and it made $230 million worldwide. And do you know what this movie will go down in infamy for? It's the film debut of Arnold Schwarzenegger's son.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. This is
that
great.
might explain
Huh?
Is he cute?
I don't know what I didn't really see any pictures of him like in his personal life, but in the movie they made him like a college jock / frat boy with like a blonde wig and a sweater type things, and they're like hating Adam Sandler's. I don't know. It just the point of the matter is 40 million. I mean, Americans, seriously, there are a lot better movies to see than this. But speaking of good movies, bad movies, we're going to go into good movies. Coming out this weekend, actually. Are either you fans of the Saw franchise?
Yeah, I like the Saw franchise.
I don't do gore. I don't know. I don't do gore in the sake. I mean, even I think you can admit some of the scenes were little like picking them up and dropping them into a pile of needles. You know, like where they like have like the needles hanging out.
No, the one where they made that girl put her hand in the thing and then it cut the hand and she picked it up and it fell up. That was
that was a little
too much. Like,
or the one when she had the face cast on
the reverse.
And if she didn't do it, it was going to.
Oh no, the one that popped the head open.
Yeah, the reverse.
It's just really, but they made a lot of money. People, you know, like
people are sick.
People are sick.
I mean, as far as cinematography goes, they're gorgeously shot.
They are. I mean,
they're beautiful movies.
And he did James Wan. He did the Paranormal Activity franchise, which for what it was worth, I mean, for as little money they were made on, as much money as they made, and they were good enough to like jump at you, keep you on your seat. But Insidious, I wasn't. Insidious, did you see it?
I liked it. I did not like the end.
I started off great. It started off
really strong,
and then halfway it was just like hitting a brick wall. It was like I don't understand what the premise was. I don't know when ghosts are supposed to be able to touch you. Like
I don't like when a horror movie tries to make me feel good at the end.
I don't,
which has been the newest trend.
I'm not a fan of that.
I just didn't like all of a sudden things just didn't make sense. And I was just, when it was over, I was relieved. But there were parts of the beginning of it that were just really scary. Like that part whenever, like, Barbara Hershey was talking to the son, and then she saw the thing behind him at the thing, and she got to that part, like, I was terrified. And then it just, like, was just like, okay.
It just got weak.
So, which is, the new chapter comes out.
They're doing a new Insidious?
Insidious 2. It comes out pretty soon. But
I mean, I'll watch it.
He is doing a movie. He's doing a new movie. It's called The Conjuring. And it's based on the real life of I don't remember the name of the paranormal.
I can't think of her.
The paranormal investigator.
She has a shop.
Well, the two, it was like a married couple, and they were in real life paranormal investigators, and they had I think they were somehow involved with the Amityville horror.
Yeah.
So, but they had one classified case, of course. I don't know how much of that I believe, but they had one case that wasn't disclosed to the public. and that's the premise of this movie, that they're investigating it. And it was supposed to be a Halloween release, but studio Warner Brothers is distributing it, and they were taking it to test audiences, and they got such a strong response from it that they pushed it back to this weekend coming up. And it's actually getting really good reviews. So I think I'm going to actually see it. Vera Farmiga, I like her. Have you ever seen anything she's in? She was in The Orphan.
Oh.
She was the mother in The Orphan.
Orphan was the one where the little girl wasn't really a little girl.
Yeah, she
was like 40.
She had some type of disease where she was elderly.
Okay,
but she
I saw
didn't.
that.
The mother in it, she actually, like, supposedly she steals the show. It's being billed as kind of like a modern day Exorcist type thing. Okay. But there's some CGIs in it, which kind of make me nervous. But the critical response has been very strong so far. Mm-hmm. So hopefully, if Americans can, like, didn't blow all the money at the box office last week, they'll actually get out to see this, because I would like to see a horror movie, like, make at least 100 million. What is it with horror movies that never make over 60 million? Like, domestically, they're usually made for low budgets, but they usually make in comparison to the budgets, but they never make. That might be the gore factor, though. That might be the gore factor.
People also prefer to watch horror movies at home, where they can be.
I prefer to watch them in the theater.
I mean, I do
too. If you're gonna get scared, it's gonna be in a big dark room.
Yes.
I love in theaters when people are screaming at the screen. That's my absolute favorite. But
I don't like it when it's all romper room. People, I will usually go to Lowe's and get a VIP ticket, which, although that time can be kind of bad too, but at least you're away from all the, you have a big seat, you can get a drink, you can bring it into the movie theaters.
I can't drink at the movies.
No, because if you break the seal, you got to do the deal. You gotta
get I just don't pay attention.
Right.
Well,
I tried
if I do a matinee, I will say that. I never go on opening night. I'll usually wait to the matinee of the following week and go when there's no one in the movie theater. So I'm going to see it this weekend, or maybe at a matinee next week. So if you want to go, give it a follow-up to it. So speaking on to movies, how about Amanda Seyfried from
I'm so excited about
Les Mis is doing a porno.
Yeah.
Oh, is she doing?
She's doing Linda Lovelace. She's portraying it, and apparently, the movie so far is getting somewhat of the film itself is getting a mixed response, because I think it's being billed as a porn star who hears Jesus, repents. But they're really trying to. I don't know how much they can go. I don't know what the rating is of it, and I don't know how dirty she gets. The dirtier she gets, the more likely she'll get an Oscar for it. I don't know if she does it with taste, but she apparently is one of the reasons to see it. So I about gave up on her.
I like her.
The only movie I've seen her in that I like is Mean Girls. That's the only movie I liked her in.
What was that? The movie where she was stalking Julianne Moore and her husband?
Oh, Chloe.
I
know. I felt that was such a low budget movie that if they would have, if a major studio would have picked it up and made it a little more meatier, it was just too. I don't know. It was long. On top of that, it was long, and again, I don't think it really went there for me. If you're gonna play that type of role, I really want to see you go there, and that's what I'm wondering. Do you think she's gonna go there as Amanda Lovelace?
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw the trailer. It doesn't look like it's going to get too raunchy.
Well, it's not going to be NC-17.
No,
that's what I
mean. What's the new? There's that new film coming out with Shia LaBeouf and Uma Thurman that they're actually doing
it's Lars von Trier.
Yeah, but even that's not real sex. I mean, the only movie to do that was Short Bus and Brown Bunny.
But I'm interested to see, because like I said, I about all gave up on her. I hated her in Les Mis. I seriously wanted her to go away. I hated Les Mis.
I hated the whole movie.
I hated the whole movie. But she was just another reason to not see it. She was completely miscast. She can sing. I don't know. It didn't work for me. So we'll have to see how that comes out. Another movie tidbit. Chris Pratt. Do you know him from Parks and Recreation?
Yeah, I love Parks and Rec.
Well, he's playing, been cast in an upcoming movie, Guardians of the Galaxy, a comic book that's being adapted to the screen by Disney, and he's cast as Dennis Kroll, I think is the name of the character. He's the heartthrob of the film. He's playing, a Chris Pine in Captain America type thing, and he's a husky type. People compare him to Jonah Hill or Seth Rogen.
No, have you ever seen that man shirtless?
Who?
Chris Pratt.
Well,
Chris Pratt?
recently,
Yeah.
shirtless.
Recently, because he's gotten
He looks
down. He got
incredible.
really. I mean, he did that for Zero Dark 30 too.
Yeah,
when he played
did.
that.
I
He
saw
got-
a photo of him at EW. And
But he
looked
does.
gorgeous.
He does.
He
But he
does,
does
and he's
that.
very handsome.
But he
Very
says
handsome.
he every time he does it, he gets into shape for a role. He loses it, and he'll go on like David Letterman or Jay Leno once the whole acclaim is done, and then they're approaching the Oscars, seeing if it wins, blah blah blah, and he gains it all back, and he says that's just I'm just a big guy, I can't stay that way forever, blah blah blah, and everyone's critiquing him that he's not going to be able to play a heartthrob, but isn't that what actors do?
That is
Yeah,
acting.
Like, isn't that what
change
actors do?
themselves
Well, not that
for
they
a
change
role.
themselves, but isn't that what like the big fanfare is when it comes to the Oscars? That one performance that the industry has pegged as the
Yeah.
superior performance because they've stepped. And most Oscar winners, they win the Oscars and then they never get nominated again.
Right.
You know, because that was just they top themselves and they'll never top themselves again.
Yeah.
So what's different about that now?
Nothing. It's just like gathering up all of your energy and putting
Yeah.
it toward one thing that
Yeah.
you believe in.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, who needs to win 30 Oscars?
And-
But regardless if it is, it's just the point that they're like they're shortlisting him. The industry people are attacking that he was the wrong choice for it. But he'll have to deal with it if it comes out and
Right.
the reviews are bad, and he'll have to deal with it that his career might not ever. Isn't that something? I think there are a lot of actresses who weren't expected to excel in their roles, and they stole the show.
I think it's great that he's showing flexibility, though. I mean, it would be so easy for him to always just play the goofy guy,
Yes.
which he does really well.
He does,
But to
he's,
turn around and try
in
to,
his
like, act-
defense, did you see Zero Dark 30?
No, I didn't.
He played a, I don't know if he was CIA or armed forces professional who was like doing the interrogation of one of the detainees who was tied to Osama bin Laden. And I mean, he was a stellar. I mean, it was a hands down. Like he has the capacity to bend
Isn't that
himself
what
to
an
more.
actor is?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But this is what gets me. This is the one thing that got me about that is that when he tweeted the picture and there was all this blah blah, he said that the two things he did was that he was working out consistently and he quit drinking beer. I have issues with this because that paints the picture that drinking beer is what's going to make you fat. And
Well-
I drink beer every day. I mean, I come home from work, even when I'm in school, to wind down. I have 2 or 3 beers every day, and you just cut. If you're someone who has to watch your calories, you just know that it's not the beer. It's that when you drink beer, then you get the munchies, and then you want something with carbs, and then you end up having a whole pizza.
Yeah.
Or, so I personally would like a retraction from that one because I think that's like slander in and of itself. Can I get an amen on that? I think he should have been
I think
inclusive.
beer is bad for you if you're trying to keep your waistline down.
Yes.
If you're trying to keep your waistline down and you're drinking a 6-pack of Budweiser and not drinking light beer, or if you're going to drink beer, you have a shot or 2 in between because the liquor is known to have less calories. It's obvious, and you're not going to drink as much beer. But he should I think he should retract it and say, you know what? I quit drinking beer and then eating a pizza after, and I think that would have been made a little more sense.
But if he quit drinking beer while he was working out, that means that
Yeah.
he quit drinking beer while he was working out. Like,
So how much beer do you think he was drinking that was contributing him to his bigger size? I guess
mean-
we should invite him on the show.
Well, I mean, if you,
Yeah.
if you
drinking
stop
beer,
alcohol,
drinking beer, and
period.
not working out, you're
Yeah.
definitely going to blow. Like,
Yeah.
No, but I
not
drank-
drinking beer and
I-
working out, you're definitely going to drop things quicker.
No, I mean,
It's
but
true.
I drink
Whole pizza aside.
Well,
like,
whole pizzas, but I drink if it's not a beer or at least 3 or 4 cocktails after work, and I work out 3 or 4 times a week, and I've came down. And no, I don't have AIDS. If one more person asks me that,
Do you? Never mind.
oh girl, don't please. I
I was going to ask you something totally different.
is it like
You sidetracked me. So.
should what?
I don't remember.
No, are you
No.
sure?
What day is today?
Friday.
Oh.
Okay. Should we go back to it later?
Perhaps.
Okay. Am I not gonna like it?
Perhaps.
Okay. All right. So on to serious matters. Before we close out, we got a little bit to go. But over the week, 15 minutes. The Glee star, Corey Monteith, was found dead and he passed in his hotel room.
Which
in
one?
Vancouver. I don't know.
Finn, the one that's in love with Leah Michelle.
The husky one?
No,
He's kind, yeah. I mean, like he's a football star.
Yeah.
He's like the main character.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
the main straight character.
The Chris Pratt of
Yeah.
Ugly.
That's
Oh.
Yeah, he's
cute.
The
and
one with the mohawk was cute, and that blonde one with the teeth.
well,
I thought the blonde
regardless, I
with
mean,
the teeth,
he was a straight guy who supported gay rights and was very active about,
What happened?
there was no foul play suspected. His cleaning staff found him in his hotel. I did do some research to show that he did struggle with substance abuse earlier in his life, and I don't know. I'm not making any implications on that note. You never know with people who are living in the spotlight, especially on television with such a high-profile show. I always think, when you get an agent and you strike it big, Joan Crawford said it's not as hard to become a star as it is to stay a star.
Right.
So you never know the pressures, especially in television with the way ratings go. It's not like with box office draw. Like if you're a box office actor who tallies your box office to measure your success. With television ratings, that's a whole different story. If a sponsor, an advertiser sponsoring doesn't want you in television, you could be forgotten the next day. So you think of the pressures on that, and people who struggle, who have lived with substance abuse, it's a day-by-day thing.
But
So,
it doesn't sound like.
no.
I mean,
I'm not making. That's what I'm saying. I'm not making any
Yeah.
implications.
because from when I was looking at it, it didn't sound like they had said it was a suicide or
Okay.
that it was a murder. They
Overdose.
didn't
No.
know. They said they were doing an autopsy.
So we'll find out. And one other thing, unless you live on, well, no, I can't say that because you two didn't really know much about it. Unless you live on a deserted island or drag queen, you would know that the Zimmerman trial verdict is finally over. And I'm not going to go into personally my perspective on whether I think there was a racial motivation or not. I'm just going to say that I have never seen such a divide in the general population and people's willingness to just hold an opinion without any supporting evidence.
That's America.
Yeah, I mean, no, and I was out and I think this person had a few drinks on top of that, and that doesn't really help. And he was talking about it, and I said one thing, and I set him off into a tidbit, and I was just trying to ask him, well, what makes you believe, blah, 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 and I got no sound response. It was just like,
People just get
Word.
passionate and angry about personal issues, and then they direct them toward media and social events that they really don't even know anything about. And then they just, and like you said, you've been out, you were somewhere, they had been drinking.
and he was pissed. I mean, he was just like, all I said was that I don't really know the details of the case, and he was saying, you don't need the details of the case. I'm like, really?
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't know if it's a sign of the times. I said, this is what I say. I remember during the O.J. Simpson trial, and that was equally, the only play you could go was you had to turn on like Entertainment Tonight to see like the footages of it.
Yeah.
And I was in school and we had to sneak into the gym with a Walkman to turn on the radio,
Right.
tune in to see what the verdict was. But there was no forum for people to be as boisterous. So I wonder how much of technology has contributed to it.
I remember
in a
they
way.
let us watch it. I was in middle school, I think.
Yeah,
And they let us
but you
watch
couldn't
it.
go on your phone and then tweet an update on Facebook and then all of a sudden have
I
40
didn't even
comments.
have a phone in middle
Yeah.
school.
Well, you get what I'm
We
saying.
had a paper cup and a string.
Well, and,
Yes.
and how much of it is people are getting their news solely from Twitter or solely from Facebook?
Exactly.
So many
That's,
people.
I mean, that's the thing is I tried to even research this topic because I've been out of it and trying to even find the root of the material, trying to even find just the case to read just the case was impossible without seeing somebody else's opinion.
Without all of this,
Yeah.
and then people use that. They're like, oh, well, my friend so-and-so said this about it, and he's always right, so,
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know if it was it was a rather intense case in and of itself. Anything dealing with death obviously is going, but I'm just wondering where we're going from here on out. To see how much technology is going to contribute further. But with that being aside, we have a first award here at Gay Life TV. And should I just go out with it? We talked about it earlier. We decided that we're going to keep it outside of Pittsburgh-based award because we don't want to we're completely impartial here at Gay Life TV. We are neutral as ever. So we're going to go ahead and give the title. Shall I go ahead with it?
Go ahead.
Okay. we'll talk a little bit about what will happen further. It's Gay Life TV's fiercest tranny not currently living in the Pittsburgh area. And this was a tough one, because we're not able to go out and get any like snapshots of personality type. We have to exclusively rely on photos. So we really have to trust our judgment here. So what we're going to do is we'll probably do a monthly queen, and then at the end of the year we'll put all the queens up from the year, and we'll have an online voting system of who is the Gay Life TV's fiercest tranny not currently living in the Pittsburgh area of the year award. So are we ready? Do we have picture number 8 ready to go? Here we go. Drum roll, please. All right, there she is. Ava Duarte Pearson Destruction. She's from Albany, New York. She's a former fitness model and is a self-proclaimed performance-based queen who avoids drama 100% and says it's all about the audience, they make you. She will be featured at the upcoming Erie Pride and is a queen that embraces all aspects of her body, whether in gowns or extremely skimpy lingerie. As you see in the pictures. Congratulations, Ava. We look forward to working with you in the future, and I'm sure we will. And we wish you the best of luck, possibly in the fiercest tranny not living currently in the Pittsburgh area of the year award. So, with that being said, I'm going to close out this show in some fun. So, shall I get our big pink box?
Sure.
Yes. So we have devised questions for each other just to get a little bit of a deeper understanding of ourselves. So I will do the honor, and we'll go ahead and do this till it's time to close out. I've got about 5 more minutes.
It looked like a medium-sized pink box.
Okay, I'll get a bigger one.
It was far down there.
Yes, I have to really reach for it. So, who wants to go first?
Claws.
Okay.
All right. So you pick
So I
one.
just pick a question?
Pick the question.
All right.
And then, what is your question?
Which would you prefer more label-wise? Booger? What is that?
A booger queen, titty,
A titty queen or a pageant queen?
and why?
And why? This is for me?
Yes.
I would much prefer a booger queen.
Okay.
Honestly.
Yes.
I just have such negative reaction to pageant queen. Just coming from the South and seeing all the pageant drag, it made me never want to do drag ever in my life. So.
And burger queens, because they don't have any titles or anything, they really have nothing to lose, so they'll
That's
really
true.
go all out and out with their performances.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think what I love about drag is just that you can kind of do whatever as long as you're playing with gender, and people love it, and that's fun.
Yes. All right, ready?
Everything gets me into trouble. What gay bar do you like/hate the most?
All right. Inhibition is the word
There's
of the day.
not even an and why.
Okay. All right. Well,
Which is great because then I can just shout out 2 names.
Okay, so we'll put a clause in there. So you can shout out your names, and you have to keep the and why thing for 30 seconds or less.
Okay.
All right.
My favorite gay bar is the Blue Moon because they accept all the freaks and the weirdos, and they have cheap drinks.
Okay.
I hate the Liberty Avenue Saloon because they are terrible people.
That's great. All right, please keep on going.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't even have to talk about their overpriced underpowered drinks. They're just terrible
They're
people.
terrible
Yeah.
people. It's easy. All right. Have you ever been aroused by a fellow performer in drag, and did you have to re-suck? No.
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 Never.
No, never.
Okay.
I'm not into women, so. But I mean, there have been fellow performers that have like done it for me.
Okay.
Out of drag.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're looking for tea chasers here. Okay.
This is like the same
same
question
question.
now,
Okay.
except rapey. Has a fellow performer ever tried to get freaky or kai in drag with you? Certainly.
Do you care to elaborate? You don't have to use any names. Just
I've been doing drag for 10 years in
Okay.
like 30 different cities. It's
Okay.
happened
And
multiple times.
Ever climaxed?
I mean, I've had sex in drag, but only with straight men. And I've slept with other drag queens, but only as boys.
Okay.
So
we're never going to get that question. Do you want to take another one since then that was kind of redundant?
sure.
All right.
Which drag race queen do you hate the most?
Oof.
Oh.
I like
Ooh.
that question.
Or
Too
as some people,
many.
as our queen here, will call them clown race stars.
Oh my god. Who do I hate the most? Hate the most, like, personality or
Just
like
that you
drag?
just can't stand to see, like when they come out there, you're like, oh girl, vote them off. Like,
I couldn't stand from season 2 Nicole Paige Brooks.
okay.
She looked like champagne. Like
Like Andre.
she just
Crystal.
I mean, she just had no paint, no personality, and she was just that tacky, oh, I'm wearing a tailpiece and a headdress. I'm a showgirl.
Yeah.
No, sir, you're a man.
Yeah.
Nicole Paige Brooks.
Nicole Paige Brooks.
All right. You're quick.
And you
Your
get to pick one, yeah.
Oh, I absolutely the one
There's
I
like
hated
60 of them. It's only
the most.
fair.
I mean, yeah, there's so many, but the one I hated the most was Alexis Mateo. I fucking hated Alexis Mateo.
I didn't like her either.
I hated her paint. I hated her clothes. The only time I liked her was when she wore the titty piece in the like see-through
I hated-
gown. That was like the only time
that
I
was
liked
very
it
pretty,
because it was
yeah.
gorgeous. It was the only time I liked the titty piece, but. Oh, her personality, because she was like always
No,
the victim.
Oh, Serena Cha-Cha,
Serena
season
Cha-Cha.
5.
Yes.
too.
Get her
I
out of
think,
here.
yeah, for me, the one. This is tough. Raven.
What?
Yes, Raven. Do
She
you
had
know
the
why I didn't
sickest
like?
pain.
I liked
Ever.
her.
She has
She
the
had
sickest
it.
pain. She
Still
still
has
owns
the
the sickest pain.
She this is what it was. It was the All Stars, Untucked, and they were coming back into like the back room, where the gold was it the gold ball?
Whatever color
And
it
they were,
was.
look, they were. I think Latrice and Manila were announced as the winner, and then they were safe. And they walked in and saw all the furniture, and she was like, "Girl, this looks like my house." And all the other girls were like, "I don't know." There's something a little bit of a like.
And you hate her the most of all the drag queens on RuPaul's
I just
Drag
hate her.
Race?
She doesn't never has. I've never seen a big display of humility on her behalf.
She's a mannequin.
Yeah, but I don't know. And her hair sucks.
I love her hair.
No.
I love
Well, I
her
guess we're
because
gonna
of her
disagree,
hair.
have to
She has never
disagree.
teased a wig.
Yeah,
She has never put
uh-uh.
extensions in anything.
I love that
She
she
can
can
wear,
rock
she
those,
can
like,
wear.
tiny
Yes.
pop-on
Yeah.
No,
bobs.
she does. I'm sorry, and I'm gonna face a backlash for that. I was so glad when when they were like Chad Michaels won. No, I didn't really want Chad.
The show was made for her.
We won't
to
go
win,
there, but
Yeah, Raven got Susan Lucci twice on that damn
the
show.
question of the day is before we
Personally,
goes
yeah.
out is there going
I
to
heard
be?
Chad was so bitter about losing season 4.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
but
that
we
I
won't.
think they had to go wrong.
We won't
Yeah.
go there. But the thing is, the question there is there going to be a second All Star season?
I hope not.
Not this
No.
year. They're gonna wait. I heard they're gonna.
Wait till they have more
Inside
ratings.
sources say they're gonna wait another couple of years, but they are going to do it again.
Okay.
I mean, because they don't have anybody else to.
I mean, there's plenty of people they can plop on there.
Nicole Paige Brooks.
Right,
Nicole,
Mystique Summers
yeah.
Madison,
Ooh!
Stacey
But-
Bryan.
Oh,
They should have a country queen season.
That would
Oh,
actually
no,
be-
No. We're not gonna. I think we're going here on this one.
I
This
would
this has been a great show. We really got into it, and we're gonna have lots more. We're gonna have a lot more material coming up in upcoming shows. Tune in Fridays at 3.
Please.
And if you have any, please feel free to send us any information that you would like for us to cover on the show. If you have a serious situation that you're cranky about and you want us to get cranky about it with you, go to facebook.com/gaylifetv and post it there. Tune in for other shows. We have a wonderful lineup of entertainers here. The Empress, your comrade in what would you say your mission is in life?
My mission in life?
Yes, as a queen.
It's terrifying.
To live forever.
Okay, so your comrade, the queen of Gay Life TV, Mahogany Macarona, has a great show. Should tune in for a drag talk.
Drag Talk every Thursday.
Yes, and it's been fun. So we're gonna sign off. Thank you very much to John Benet Ransme for coming, and we hope we can get you back here before you leave. For New York, and you're right around the corner, so it's hard not to
Yeah.
get you to come in. And again, we want to thank all of our Justin.tv viewers, and a special thanks again to mondoclub.com. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great day. We're Cranky, and we love it.